So to date, AgriProve has completed more than 450 baseline sampling rounds across our project portfolio. That equates to over 10,000 individual soil samples taken by AgriProve to date in baseline alone. There are a few key things to think about in terms of how we complete this process. So we are working to the 2021 soil carbon methodology, which is fairly prescriptive in how we map these projects and draft up what the sampling parameters look like for each of these projects. Every project gets split up into what are called carbon estimation areas of approximately 100 hectares in size. We then split those down further into what are termed strata, so 3 individual strata, and there's an example on the screen now. Within each of those strata, we take a minimum of 3 soil cores, and we take those cores down to 1 metre in depth. Something that is important to note here too is that we do have to go through a fairly detailed process of mapping out exclusion zones. So these are exclusions we take out of the project area, and these are areas where we physically aren't able to sample. So it might be areas of infrastructure, dams, roads, buildings, things like that. Areas of dense vegetation, we take those out at this point in time. But it also might be areas where you aren't actually actively going to implement one of those chosen eligible activities, because one of the requirements is that we are implementing that activity across the whole of the project area. So this is a fairly detailed process. We handle all of this mapping, and we've got some really smart automated tools for stratifying that project based on landscape variability. It's important too to note that baselining costs are the only costs that we pass on in terms of upfront costs with getting these projects established. All the subsequent costs associated with the project are absorbed in AgriProve's fee, which is 25% of ACCUs on the project once generated. There is, however, the option to defer the payment of those baselining costs for future ACCUs. So basically, you can get up and running for no upfront cost, but we'll take that baselining cost out of the ACCUs once they're generated on the project within a 5-year period. So really providing flexibility and options for getting started with these projects is really important to us. And if you are interested in getting an assessment of what those likely costs are and what the project parameters may look like, we're happy to provide that in a carbon ready report off the back of this webinar.